What's up, y'all? It's your girl Crystal,
And this is Jordan.
and this is the YouTube channel. What you know about that?
That's right, where usually we review classic hip hop, R&B, pop, and gospel albums.
But we are.
But we're back at it today, and we're back at it again today. We're back. We're finally back after doing a lot of reaction videos.
Yeah.
Which we thank you guys for viewing all of our reaction videos. That we'll work on we're working on getting some more out for you guys, but we're back to reviewing albums, and today the album that we're reviewing is Notorious B.I.G's 1994. That's that fun year, Ready to Die.
And my birthday, what's up? You know, just gotta throw that out
Oh,
there for people.
yeah. It's necessary evil.
Yeah, it's actually taken us a while to actually get to this review. Like we both listened to the album like a few weeks ago, but everything with Corona and just like really wanting to give you guys like a good solid review of the album.
Yes.
We just decided to, fill up with the, review the reactions, and
Feed the streets, so to say, but make sure you guys are washing your hands. Y'all didn't see my finger. Make sure you guys are washing my hands. I'm pointing. Make sure you guys are washing your hands, being safe, covering up, and yeah,
social distancing.
social distancing. That's right. So we all know who's the real star of this. So 6 feet that way. Anyway, yeah. So we are definitely starting with Ready to Die, like we had said. I think this comes at a time like in 1994, like, I was 2 years before. So 1994, West Coast was kind of taking over, the G-Funk era, things like that. And I feel and as the story goes, New York is kind of like that birthplace of hip hop. So they kind of needed a savior. They kind of needed somebody or some people to bring that, like, that flavor back to the East Coast. So so as our story goes, you've heard you've heard the stories about Nas and how he came up. That and Nas came up around that era, but also there was another person, someone who would make an even bigger impact. Well, not that Nas's impact is anything to be shunned upon, because he did make a pretty decent impact. And that was Notorious B.I.G. And that's his album Ready to Die, which was released by Bad Boy and Arista. Mr. Puffy Combs. Sean Puffy Combs. He went through like 15 different name changes, so we don't know what to call him anymore. Right. We're just gonna call him Puffy. And this at first glance, just as a West Coaster myself, Los Angeles born, as a West Coaster, it had the slaps, it had the slaps. You have the ones that we all know. We have, Juicy, Big Papa, One More Chance. What other songs we have on here?
I think I want to hop in before we get into the actual songs. We always try to give the people the background. So I think something that Jordan said which was very, very important, is definitely the West Coast versus East Coast type of beef or ordeal. That's something that's even studied today when people, study hip hop. And I think one thing I want to say about like the Nas comparison is I think that we reviewed Nas, the Illmatic, on our channel or whatever, and people was hating because they didn't actually really listen to what we were saying. They just listened to what I was saying objectively on a personal type of level. But I think that the difference between Biggie and Nas is that by Biggie hooking up with Puffy, and Puffy having that experience with like Uptown and things like that. Biggie was able to get more of that commercial like push like into your homes and things like that. Even
Mhm.
though both of them, are said storytellers, you know what I mean, are, lyricists, you know what I mean. Biggie had the machine behind him. In
Mhm.
essence, he didn't always have it that way, but that's what made him, I think, I'm not going to say more memorable than Nas because people who really like hip hop, they always put Biggie and Nas in the same category, but not many people know a lot of Nas's songs like they know Biggie
Biggie
songs.
songs.
You know what I mean? And I'm not too sure about like hip hop at this particular time, because or at least the sound or whatever, was prevalent. I know Jordan mentioned like the G Funk, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, all of them, NWA, all of that, you know. So I think that's pretty important to really highlight to setting the base of like where Biggie's getting ready to go with this first album because I feel like it was probably anticipated. You know what I mean? Like heavily, heavily anticipated. And there have been so many different documentaries about Biggie
Oh
too. The
yeah,
Notorious movie,
it's been heavy.
Netflix things.
Oh yeah.
It's always some YouTube conspiracies. Who shot Biggie? Who shot Tupac? Who? You know what I mean? It's like a rabbit hole, really.
I still think that the labels did it. It had to do with labels because both of them were about to leave. It's we're not even going to get into this, but it was a label thing. First of all, Suge Knight was a gangster. Suge Knight, Suge Knight, Suge Knight had gang ties.
Before we get into it, because I can tell you about that. There's a lot of people being.
Yeah,
We're not conspiracy
we're not
theorists.
considering,
You feel
but
me?
it was a label thing. That's
Yeah,
all because both of them were trying to leave, and it was what it was.
yeah.
So,
And one thing that I have to know before, of course, I know like B.I.G. I've heard his music, um, throughout my life, but just the mainstream type of stuff, everything, the Juicies, the Big Papas, the One More Chance,
mhm.
um, it's a couple of us, but I can't think of them right now. Um, because they were playing in like movies and a lot of like hip hop movies and things like that, or movies that had like black cast in it. So black people made sure that this music stood the test of time or was not forgotten. You feel what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
and one thing that I mentioned before is that the pairing of TV or movies with music, how they kind of like balance each other and help like promote each other.
Oh
Because
yeah,
that's the only way that I know. That's the only way that you know what I
that's
mean?
the only way. Like we all know. Like I mean, we talk about it all the time on this channel about just the fact that we miss like just that little journey. Like you hear it on the radio, then you come home, and then the video comes out, and then it takes you on this whole little musical journey, and then all that builds anticipation up to the album.
Right. Yeah. True. Big facts.
Yeah, good old 106 and Park days,
Yeah.
which that's a whole nother thing on its own.
Yeah. And I got to talk about this because we are of a generation who would not remember when Biggie was hot because we weren't alive or we were
Too young. Yeah, we
toddlers or
were
whatever the case.
too young.
So we gotta talk about like the preservation of it and how he's still revered as like one of the greatest like hip hop artists. Just like globally or just people who really consume hip hop. Even white people, love Biggie. And
And
most times we go with what most people think
mhm.
or what people are telling us when we're growing up or what you're always reiterated. So I'm like, oh, he must be one of the greats or whatever. But now we actually have the opportunity to listen to the music and let the music do the talking. So I'm
Right.
ready to get into the album.
I'm ready to get into this album too. So what was so I think
So how many tracks?
how many
It's
tracks?
like 17. That's a long
Um,
album.
it's well, it's 17 on the regular, and then you get the remastered, then you got two more. So we're gonna
Yeah.
go with the original 17.
17. It was like an hour and some minutes.
Yeah, that's about an hour nine.
Yeah. Yeah. It was It was again, this is my first time really listening to Biggie. So you know, I feel like I kind of came in with a biased approach because, like I said, he's always been the greatest. He's the greatest. He's the greatest. He's the greatest. And I'm like, all right, if he's the greatest, I'm ready to, I'm ready to be bumping.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I could say about this entire album is just the story that's being told. One thing that I appreciate the most about this album is the story being told and the way that it's being told. And that's not to sit here and say that I agree with some of the shit that he was saying because we'll get to that later. But and just and this is a bias like of mine. I'm a person that appreciates a good story. You feel what I'm saying? Whether it's a podcast episode, whether it's a TV pilot, whether it's a movie. I like when somebody is giving you a good beginning, giving you the build up, this is why, whatever, giving you a climactic middle, you feel me, and giving you the cool down with the end. And I feel like this album does that perfectly. And not many hip hop albums do, because
Mhm.
most time they're just reiterating each other. You feel what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Fuck this, bitch, that, blah, 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 blah.
It's just
Even though
the theme.
he was doing that too. You feel
Yeah,
what I'm
he
saying?
did.
But one thing I really appreciated about the album is just the story that was being told. And that is the story of, again, which is a running theme in hip hop, young black male growing up in impoverished conditions, single mother, absent father, you feel me, trying to make a name for himself, trying to do his best with the circumstances that he's given, and just being a product of his environment.
Mhm.
So I appreciated the storytelling. So what would you say that you appreciated the most about the album as a whole, or your favorite part?
I think came all the way over here. Shit, like goddamn. All right, but honestly, I really loved first of all, I love what
If any, or if things something
there's a lot
that
that
stuck out to you
all
or
right, there's a
something.
lot that comes a lot about Biggie. I think I really admire production. I
Hmm.
think production was like he had he had some, looky loos that I can see like, like people who were like, oh, all right, oh, I recognize him for his work. Like Puffy did some stuff. I think Lord Finesse, which is a pretty good producer. He did a lot of who did he do a lot of that nah, nobody you would know of probably.
Hmm.
So, but he did some stuff. What other producers do we have? I think a lot of this was done by a named Easy Mo Beat. It was a good. He did a good majority of the production, the actual production. Him, Chucky Thomas. You have DJ Premier. Um, and just the way that Biggie puts his words together to go along with that production. I really applaud that. I think that Biggie is just the way because we always talk about how like how wordy Nas is.
Hmm.
Like in the last video we talked about how wordy Nas was. And in this video, Biggie was wordy, but he did it with a way it's like, okay, we can get with this. Okay, Biggie, you know, and and just I think that in itself, just the way that Biggie knows how to put lyrics together, and the fact that he also not even like people don't really talk about it a lot, but he actually was a pretty good battle rapper too.
Okay.
So he really, because I mean, coming out of New York, he kind of had to do it all.
Hmm.
So
Like for the time, especially for that time period.
especially for that time period, and then you're coming out of New York, like the home of hip hop. Oh, you gotta come with it. You
Hmm.
can't just be like just some freestyling dude and just can't battle rap. So um, but yeah, he's come up. He had a couple little bars. I think he had one song like I think I like the Well, I liked a lot of the ones that came out, like the singles. You had Big Papa, you had Juicy, you had One More Chance, and then the remix.
Right, because I was about to say the one more chance that's on the album is not the
It's not the
Faith. It's
remix.
not the
It's not
Faith
the Faith
Evans
Evans
one.
one.
Yeah. Oh, baby, give me one
One
more
more
chance.
chance.
I don't know. I
I
ain't
got
really
that
like that
good
one.
love. Really?
Because I'm expecting one more chance. That
Mm.
smooth shit. I'm not
Yeah.
expecting this old timey type shit.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But it was like,
You know another album that
mm,
was like that that actually made me mad?
mm.
Lil Kim's album.
Which
Cause
one?
cause Crush on You. Cause all right, so if you look at
You gotta
hardcore,
do it. You have to do
yeah, we gotta do a Lil Kim album. But if you look up Crush on You, the one that's on the radio where the one that's on the radio is not the one that's on the
it.
album.
No, okay.
Cause like Lil C's is the one who's doing all the bars on the song
On the album
on the
version.
album, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that made me mad. But I don't know. I like the one song that actually stood out to me was the one where he was with it wasn't a long one, but it was the one where he had a song, I think it was right before Juicy. It's called the what? It's with Method Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like that little
What did he
joint.
say? I'm not a something man. I'm a method man. I forget what he said, but I like
Yeah,
that.
Method Man. They were ripping it. They were going back and forth. I like that little exchange. I'm a big Method Man fan. Method Man just always does it.
Yeah, I think just going through the track list. Um, but I want to one thing I want to say before going through the whole track list is just how the album starts. The album starts like, yeah, we are about to take you on a journey. It's a whole intro. It's like 3 minutes of like it's a whole intro of like a baby crying. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, not even a baby crying first. Like a woman getting ready to give birth, and someone like push, push, push.
Hmm.
Then a baby crying. Then it's like two parents like fighting back and forth, like I'll kick the shit out of you, bitch. Blah
Hmm.
blah blah blah. And then it's of like Biggie and his homeboy like getting ready to rob somebody or some shit. And then it's like Biggie getting out of prison. So what it's doing is like giving you snapshots of what he's getting ready to talk about. That entire 3 minute intro for real. And it's just sound clips. It's not a song.
Right.
It's just sound clips. And I like shit like that. I liked it. You feel what I'm saying? I really, really liked it because I prepare me. You feel me? Don't just start saying shit. You feel what I'm saying? Or don't just start, you feel me? Like take me on a journey. And he definitely took me on a journey, even though I didn't necessarily want to go with him. You feel what I'm saying? Because a lot of the shit that he was talking about, you know, uh, it was disrespectful. You feel me? And when people say, because in this particular time, gangster rap was getting like a very, very bad rap, about promoting violence, gun violence, drugs, or whatever. He was promoting all of that shit in his songs. Give Me the Loot is literally a story of him getting ready to not getting ready, robbing someone, and
Hmm.
him and his dumbass friend, you feel me, driving a getaway car or some shit. You feel what I'm
Right.
saying? Um, Warning is another warning is basically a story of somebody warning big that like somebody is trying to rob you because now you're successful.
Mm.
And all throughout his lyrics he's talking about I keep my text, I'm not afraid to shoot my gun, I'll shoot you, tech nine, point this, point that, point whatever. And but he talks about all of these things in such a way where it's just like poetic. It's poetic, it's catchy, you feel what I'm saying? um and like you said, it's wordy, but it's wordy to the point where it's a picture being painted, not where you have to go run to a dictionary
Right.
like with Nas shit. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's like an easy picture. It's just a hood story being told. I'm a hood nigga. I didn't have much. He talked about I used to steal from my mother. You feel what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like, I used to steal. I used to beat niggas up. All of that. But I done found a little, gifting with my words and shit like that. Now I'm trying to. Well, he ain't really talk about trying to do some new shit for real, you know what I mean? But he was just saying, I got money. Now niggas who used to know me trying to kill
Yeah.
me, you
Uh-huh.
feel me? And it got me paranoid because he talked about suicide a lot
Hmm.
like on this track. You feel what I'm saying? And talking about like the pressures and shit. You feel what I'm saying? Talked about like his mom like having cancer and shit. Maybe you missed that. I forget. Things done changed is where he talked about that.
Yeah.
Um, and then talking about going to the club, macking girls and shit, you feel me? Talking shit down the girls, bet you ugly
Hmm.
anyway, after you done fucked her, you feel me? Now this I'm gonna have to come for you. I'm gonna have to come for you, big, because Biggie kind of remind me of like the fat guy in the group, right? Who his claim to fame is just being funny. You know what I mean? He not good looking. You feel me? Now Biggie talented for real, but most times when you out and about, nobody's really checking for like the fat guy or whatever, and that pisses him off.
Hmm.
So the fact he's like, all right, well now I got money, and now I'm getting a little bit of like, power, respect. So I'm a dog all the bitches who didn't want me,
Hmm.
before or whatever the case. That's like a running trend too, but he was I feel like some of the shit he was saying was just so disrespectful. Like, he was basically on some insecure shit, like on a friend of mine.
Hmm.
You feel me? Basically, he was saying, like, yeah, like, I dog bitches because somebody broke my heart, or when I like you, you actually like my friend. Like some childish shit. Like, but Biggie was only 21. You gotta remember that too. Or 20,
Exactly. He was in
You feel
his he
me?
was only 20, he was only 25 when, yeah,
Yeah, when he passed,
when he passed
this, yeah.
away. So I mean, yeah.
So I'm just saying that I'm saying all of that to say he's painting the story of like a regular hood guy, but he's not a regular hood guy because they are a lot of hood guys. I'm not gonna say are illiterate. I won't say that, but they can't put words together how he put words together.
Yeah,
He's a
he
talent.
had he
Yeah,
knows. So he was edgy. He wasn't like one of those like,
yeah. Nah. If put into another, if dealt like a better hand with the same gift, like, you feel me? You could have probably been a politician or some shit, giving speeches or something just dealing with like being
yeah.
an orator. You feel what I'm saying?
No, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, but I get the story is so common and so many people can relate to just wanting to get money, just wanting not to be poor. You feel me? To just wanting to go to the club, smoke, drink, make holes or whatever.
Right.
It's a very common story, but he had a very uncommon gift with how he just set everything up for real. And I just, it's like a love. I have a love hate with this album for real, like a love hate because I love the storytelling ability. I love the setup, but I don't like the content. So
Hmm.
that's kind of like my little takeaway.
I mean,
What's your takeaway?
my
Mm.
takeaway is that, like when you, like sometimes, like, that kind of, um, that shit happens. Like, I'm
What?
not saying like I'm cool. I'm not saying like, first of all, I'm pro woman. So I'm gonna be calling anybody like, bitches and things like that. Look how quick I got in front of me. I'm trying to tell you, America, this I'm ready. But no, like, even though I'm not cool with it, I mean, I'm a free flowing personality, as you've all come to know. So Crystal's a little bit more aggressive.
I'm not
I'm
aggressive.
I'm like, this is why we balance each other so well, because
I'm I'm not aggressive.
you are
That
aggressive.
that's I think that's the wrong word to use.
I'm very well. All right, what would you describe yourself, Crystal?
I would describe myself as an analyzer. You feel me?
Okay,
Definitely a straight shooter, but definitely not aggressive. How I bring my points down, and not like,
I'm actually messing with you.
no, you're not. No,
Yes,
you're
I
not.
am.
Because if y'all notice, Jordan always like backpedal.
No,
You
I
feel
always
me?
like messing with her.
No,
I love messing with Crystal. This is one of my favorite cousins on the world.
maybe backpedal. Go on with that. Go ahead,
But no, with the album, I feel like this album was, like I said, it was a really good album to listen to. It took me on a journey. Like, everybody loves like a good, like, I think everybody loves a good story, and that's what we miss. Like, with albums nowadays, is we don't have like that story. or a theme throughout the album.
Right.
You know, we have so much like, streaming and picking what we want throughout an album. There's never been a chance where we can listen to an album. So it was nice to be taken on like an adventure, as it pertains to the album. Now, as far as content, I mean, there's some things that I didn't agree on, but time, you gotta understand that that's probably the person who he is, but at the same time, doesn't make it right. Yeah, I said it doesn't make it
I think it was something that I wanted to. It was something that I wanted to like bring into context too with this. And I and the reason and I feel like people could kind of make the argument with like people who listen to like Meg the Stallion, a Little Kim, or just people who talk about like scamming niggas or dropping niggas and they not about that life. Um, it is kind of the same thing.
right.
But we're talking about someone who is now he probably didn't know this, you feel me, that he was gonna be like somebody revered in history because he is that, you know what I mean? Which amazes me because he wasn't out for that long.
Yeah, he
You feel
really
what
was.
I'm saying?
Yeah, but think about it like this. Think about only being out for like 3 years. Only being out for like, what is it? Because like, I think 90. When did Juicy drop? Let me
I
fact check
think it
my
was
phone.
94, I think.
Yeah.
I think Juicy was 94.
Yeah, Juicy was.
Was that the first single?
Yeah, it was 94. So about 90, from about 91, 92, 90, about probably mainstream. So probably about like 93, like 94 to like 97. Only like three, that's not even 3 full years. Because when he
And
died,
he was the early part of 1997.
yeah, it was like the early part, day after my birthday. Just gonna throw that out there. It's really weird because he got shot on my birthday, but he died the day after. Like, but anyway, but yeah, it's just only 2 years. Only 2 years. Name somebody else who has had that. Name another person who has had that impact in less than 2 years, in a little over 2 years.
I think a lot of that goes back to well, one that he's really talented. You can't take that away from him, but also that New York needs a savior type of ordeal that was going on. So it's like New York was like
New York was kind of starved for it.
yeah, like fiending for someone to kind of be on that same type of level that those West Coast rappers was on. You know what I mean? And they definitely got it, in Big from around the way. You feel what I'm saying? Brooklyn, you feel me? Talk the talk, because in New York people just have a different type of
Like swag about them.
swag, just
They do.
like vernacular. You feel me? If I wasn't from Baltimore, I would want to be from New York, just because I just like. And some of them bullshitters. You feel what I'm saying? I don't want y'all to, whatever. But they just got this confidence, that it exudes in any. It's you can tell when somebody's from New York or from like a urban type. Well, not all urban cities. I'll take that back. But you can tell when somebody is from New York. Just they move different, they talk different, their confidence is, it speaks for themselves. They most times,
Right.
they don't even have to say anything, you know what I mean? So Biggie kind of put like you said, Biggie was like the rebranding of like hip hop for New York, and New York was like, yeah, we got our origins back. You feel me? He nice, the flow. And one thing that I wanted to know, this was the point that I wanted to know. You was talking about like production. I wasn't too keen on production because the tracks that I knew like Biggie to like rap over was the mainstream. And there's a solid difference between those mainstream production styles and the album production styles. The album production styles kind of reminded me of like some Wu-Tang type shit. Just like some a few keys in the back or whatever, just a beat, you feel me? Because hip hop wasn't really about the progression or the beat or the rhythmic or whatever. It was about the lyrics.
Hmm.
So most of the album is just lyrics based, but those singles are radio friendly.
Hmm.
Juicy is of course the sample of is it Matumbe? Matumbe?
Mattoon,
Matune?
Mattoon,
Juicy
yeah.
fruit. Juicy. I like that song.
Even when I hear that song, like without the, and it's not a part of Juicy, I keep thinking before the bar drops. I know. I start dropping the bars from. I know. Woke up, pockets broke as hell. Got another rock to sell. Like I'm. It's
You talking about when you listen to
whenever I hear
Juicy
Juicy,
Fruit?
whenever I hear that song by M Tune,
Mm-hmm.
I keep dropping Biggie
Oh, it's M Tune. That's how you
M
pronounce it,
Tune. Yeah.
girl. I'm saying M Tune. Some African or something. I don't know. I
Mm-mm.
don't know. But yeah. And 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 Biggie. I mean, not Biggie. Diddy found his like cash cow um with Biggie
Mm-hmm.
because he found someone who could take his beats, because I feel like a lot of people felt like Diddy's beats was like soft and it didn't really represent hip hop.
Yeah.
So he found somebody who could make his they I feel like they kind of needed each other at that point, Biggie and Diddy. He found somebody who could basically give him the street cred that he needed for
Mm-hmm.
real, for his production style. And Biggie found someone who could basically get him on the radio and take
Right.
him to that next level. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then
Um,
again, when you think about it, like, when you think about like just the production style, just as a whole, like I think it's been said, like when you like just on the outside looking in, and I know like sometimes like people will notice this when you come with slow instrumentals and slow beats the way that Biggie usually did.
mhm,
Um, you gotta come with the bars.
mhm,
So your bar game has to be on point. Like the words that you saying gotta be here. The beat can't be here, and you be you know. I'm trying to. The
mhm.
beat can't be like you can't. The beat can't be better than you. You have to be better than the beat.
Right.
So I feel like I
I
think
think
that
it
was
was,
he
yeah,
was definitely like all the on all the songs. I
yeah,
could say like he was definitely better than the beat.
yeah,
Not to say that the beats sucked
yeah.
because I personally I like the beats. Like like I'll listen to like if like because some of the producers
Mhm,
like I know Lord Finesse, he has like instrumental tapes.
mhm,
Like he's a like or even DJ Premier has instrumental tapes and just like random beats like like I will listen to them and then just like get stuff accomplished in life, which well don't have really anything to get accomplished now because like Corona.
mhm.
But but yeah, but yeah, I just like just to wrap my little point up. I just really appreciate the fact that Biggie's bar game was here. Me and the Beats were here. Biggie was here, and they just had like a nice little.
Yeah. I think I definitely think that on some, and like I said, this is just like a personal preference. Because I guess my introduction or interaction with hip hop, like in my life, was when like a merger of hip hop and R&B was like prominent. You know what I mean? So I wasn't really used to like rappers just rapping over beats that are not like you can dance to or you can bop to or that got like more of like a melody. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like my introduction was like the 2000s and on. You feel me? Me being 6 years old and on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you remember stuff from like back in the day for real, but you know, it's not the same. So my ear is tuned to the beat and not really what you're saying. You
Right.
feel me? But as I got older, it's like, all right, well, what the fuck is these people actually talking about? You feel me? Like,
Yeah. Now it's a different kind of It's definitely different.
Yeah, but I think Diddy and Biggie just had a good they had a good balance on where they were able to meet each other's needs or basically help each other to progress,
Hmm.
in the music game for real, for real. Even though we was just having a debate about the coin. Well, it's no debate that Diddy was definitely like a
Yeah,
cornball, a cheese ball,
Diddy is the king of that.
but
Diddy is the king, but there's nothing that goes.
he made those beats though.
He definitely made those beats.
He
He has an ear, and
and the sampling is crazy.
mhm.
His samples, go down in history. He samples how he's supposed to sample. And I'm gonna keep saying this until they stop doing it. People who are sampling from back in the day now, take that underwater filter off of it. Period. It's not R&B.
Here she goes again.
It's not. I'm gonna keep saying it until because y'all keep doing it. Stop it. That's
There
it.
it goes again.
Y'all need to take a page out of Diddy's book because his samples was always on peak. It didn't lose the melody of what he was doing, and then it just him and Kanye West same thing. They the king of samples, giving you what you want like about the original, but revamping it so that it's something
Hmm.
completely new and
Yeah.
fresh. You know.
Yeah.
So you can't get that back. You feel me? I feel like Diddy kind of ushered in
Oh
he
wait.
ushered in an entire sound with hip hop. You feel me? Him and a couple other producers. You feel what I'm saying? The merger of hip hop and R&B. I feel like Diddy's definitely responsible for our generation. You feel what I'm saying? It's probably some other producers that we don't really know about or talk about or don't really get the shine that
Yeah.
they
There's probably a
deserve.
lot of other ones.
But I gotta give Diddy his props. He's definitely corny and always doing too much and doing the most. But he's definitely gonna go down in history as he should, and as Biggie should too. You know what I mean? And one thing that makes me think about we're just talking about the 2 years of just him doing music or him being in the spotlight. It makes me think you know like once you find your thing for real,
Hmm.
it doesn't take long. Well, it depended upon your journey, because sometimes it takes you got to work really, really hard, and that's not to say that he didn't work hard or
Right.
sacrifice or whatever. Um, but once you find your thing, it's like, and once you find your flow, the thing that you're like meant to do, you feel me? Like that's
Mm.
gonna be your legacy. You feel me?
Right.
And that's why we're trying a lot of different things. You feel what I'm saying? To find like our thing, to find our like groove and sweet spot, you know what I mean, as it
Mm.
pertains to just life and you know um progressing and things like that. I think that's all I really got to say. We probably missing like some other stuff, but I
Right.
think I wrote like some notes about I wrote some notes about a couple of songs, but in actuality the kind of overarching theme is just I'm a hood guy. I like to do hood red things with my friends for real. I got money now, so girls like me, so I can talk to you how they used to treat me back in the day.
Hmm.
You feel me? We
We
gotta
still love it.
before we do that. Who still love it?
Um,
Who'd you say still love it? You said I didn't hear what you said.
I said, like, and they still love it.
And the girls still love it.
Girls,
Yeah, they would. They would. Like
some girls.
if you listen to the type of like girls that he was like sampling like throughout the whatever, they was like hood chicks. Big, why you call my sister Letitia because she was da 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 blah blah, bird brains and shit. But he said that in one of his songs. He was like, "Yeah, I like my girls no brain or some shit, like
Hmm.
brainless or something like that, like bird, basically birds and shit like that." Um, we got to talk about dreams. I'm just saying. I feel like you didn't. I feel like you didn't get through it. Talk about dreams.
Here we go. Why you got? Wait, I want you to start this one off.
No, you started
I
off
want you to
because
start.
I'm pulling your card because I know I got a feeling that you didn't listen to the album today
I
to
did,
refresh yourself.
nigga. We doing this on here.
Yeah.
Here
What
we
was
go.
dreams about?
Hold
No.
on. Here we go. I did it. I did it. It's just
No,
look.
he about to type in what was Biggie's dreams about?
Dreams of getting R&B. Yeah.
What was it about?
He had dreams of having sex with an R&B man. Like, what we doing? Like, don't leave me alone,
See,
Crystal.
no, see, but Jordan, I can always tell when you haven't done
I
what needed to
did.
be done
Okay.
because that's
Oh, okay. I knew it was. I knew it. I knew it. I had to be refreshed. So be nice to me.
Jordan.
All right. So he was talking about all the little R&B singers, which and
He's
it's
looking this up
no,
on
no,
his
no.
phone now.
I knew it. It just mm. Oh, oh, oh. Nah. Okay, that actually was pretty. That yeah.
Come
That's
on, Jordan.
first of all, leave me alone. That was just first of all. Now, for those who don't know, Dreams is a Sing is one of the songs. It is on the remastered version, little extrovert. And Biggie is talking about all the girls that all the R&B singers that he would and famous people that he would, get busy with. And one was very controversial. With Little Raven Simone of the Cosby Show. Yep,
Yeah, that was weird as hell, bro.
yep.
It was weird. And not only that, he was also saying some pause worthy shit. Even though I don't get into that silly shit that boys are doing today, but that was definitely some pause shit when he talked about I'd rather fuck RuPaul than fuck them ugly ass escape bitches. Like, come on,
Yeah.
bro. Come on.
And you know what's even worse? When that joint came out, Monica was only 14, so that's still cringy.
Reagan was only like probably 7 or 8
Nine,
or some shit.
nine. Monica was 14 and Raven
See,
was 9. That is just
see,
crazy.
this is the problem. This is the problem. Okay, so I'm not going to go in, but I'm just going to say uh, I'm just going to say like what everyone's fucking thinking. This is a problem with when all of these people were trying to get like hip hop like banned or whatever. Can you imagine this coming out today? It would never see the lights of day.
It'll be just
He would be like, you feel me, put under a fucking like scarlet letter. You feel what I'm saying? As he should, because this is the thing. A lot, and I looked this up like on YouTube and was like looking at the comments because I want to see like if people are catching it, and they some are, and then others are defending it like, yeah, well he said he was just playing. That's weird as shit.
I
That's weird.
mean,
That's weird. And that is that part with like
people were catching it back in the day because they were like, "Oh, we just like you gave us Juicy, you gave us this, you gave us a solid."
that's that
Oh,
same R. Kelly shit.
but it's bad when you think about it out loud, and when
We
you
oh just out loud.
no when you see not
Oh,
out loud,
oh,
that's clearing out loud.
okay.
What I'm saying, like it's not happening out loud. The shit is happening out
No,
loud.
you just said like it's bad when you say it
No,
out loud.
what I meant to say is it's bad just in general. Like the whole thing is just like throw it away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we gotta we gotta talk
I
about
knew,
that.
yeah, and the jacked up thing is like I was like, why is Dream something? And I was like, oh yeah, because then Nicki Minaj tried to do her own little spin on it, and then it's just like, please, just not that.
I mean, I was
Hers was a little bit more
it was fun.
tame. It
Yeah,
was
it was
fun.
fun. Yeah, it was more funny, like like just like poking fun, at some of the rappers or whatever, or just saying, you know what I mean. But it definitely wasn't on that type of. It's just weird. It's just
Hmm.
weird that that would even be like, you know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like, but it's weird, but I'm not surprised because hip hop has always had an affinity with underage girls. Period. I mean, that's just the way the society is set up. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like people like to sexualize little girls, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting as fuck. Like, and I hate to even take it there because I'm definitely not trying to be on no me too type of shit. You feel what I'm saying? But you have to bring stuff up like this up. You can't just be giving your faves passes because you like all that other music. But even a lot of that other music was his music was promoting the shit that was detriment. You feel what I'm saying? Smoking, drinking. You feel what I'm saying? Violence against women. Like he definitely had some of that shit. Like in one of like my bitch. I think that was like that's a song like me and my bitch or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about beating up his girl. Like he was saying that shit explicitly, and nigga was like, no, but the flow, but the go, and the yeah, but the yeah. I'm not one of those people. Well, I'm not one of those people that can be just like, oh yeah, like under the past, because a lot of times what that reminds me like a lot of shit that happened in families with uncles and weird cousins and shit, and people just allow him to keep coming around and shit at the barbecue, and you feel me, ain't nobody saying nothing, you know what I mean? It's weird. I can't get down with that shit. Like I can't get jiggy with the shit. I can't, you feel me? That it was a weird way to end the album too, because I'm like, I can't get down with you calling bitches and this and that and the third. But then you going, why would you even, what would he could have put somebody else's name right there.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Any other hot bitch, you feel me, during the time, during, that period for real. I seen somebody mention he didn't put Janet. He could have put Janet name in there.
Right.
She was on her shit. You feel me?
Was on her shit. That was.
You feel me? Like he could have put. Who else he could have put?
He could have put Janet. He could have put.
Who the fuck else was like popping this thing back? Because he put everybody in there. TLC, SWV, Mary, in Vogue. Yeah, he put
SWV,
in Vogue. He had Jade. He put John A in there. Everybody that we done reviewed on this motherfucking junk for real. He put Monica in there. He could have put anybody else's name in there for real to make
Mary J. Blige, Mariah.
If it was just based off of like it went with the rhyme, it didn't rhyme. You could have put. Come on.
Wow.
It was weird.
It was weird.
But there and again, I feel like that goes back to what I was talking about. Like, just Biggie just seemed like the nigga that he trying to. And everybody, this is a running thing, like in culture, like for real hip hop culture. It's just I'm a flex on your asses who people didn't believe in me, but it's like you flexing on bitches though. Come on, don't flex on bitches. Real niggas don't do that. Come on, like he's just a funny fat nigga in the group, and now he done got a little bit of. Y'all know what I'm talking about? A funny fat nigga that always got a towel around his neck at the cookout or at the pool or some shit. You feel what I'm saying? Eating shrimp fried rice. Pulling it out of nowhere, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, just a nigga that mad that he ain't never get no love, so he uses his money and power to like lord that over bitches. I don't like. That's the type of nigga that he seemed like, just based off of his lyrics. What's oh God about that?
No, I'm with you. I'm taking in the fact that he's. I picture it. Nigga with a towel.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. Let's get into it.
This reminded me of this one time I was in Richmond. I went to Richmond with my friends, and I think it snowed. It was like December or something like this, so the clubs was like dead or whatever. And my friend did kind of take this a little out of proportion, but it was this bouncer. I forget what he had said or something. Like he had said something. It was three of us, me and my friend Nene, this other friend, girl, I'm not friends with no more. Like she was like, I think she was trying to ask him a question or some shit. I think we were drunk or whatever, and he had said like what, or like he was like, well, are you on drugs or something like that? Or are you on crack? Something along those lines. Crack or drugs or something along those lines. And she got so offended. She said, what? I've never done drugs. She like proper and shit. I've never done drugs in my life. I'm like, I'm a little drunk. I'm a little buzzed. I'm looking at it like, first of all, calm down.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to go into this club. I'm not sure if we were going in, and he was just this big fat fat guy, you feel what I'm saying? Of course, they just hired just because of his size for real to, hey, I just needed to stand there and block the door and shit. And we had a talk on our Lyft like our Lyft for Uber back, you feel me? And she was like appalled. She was like making like a whole whatever, texting her boyfriend, calling everyone she knows. Can you believe that he said whatever, whatever? And I'm like,
If I was an Uber driver, I'd have just been like,
this is
bro.
like some Middle Eastern guy or whatever. So he probably didn't
He
understand
probably
everything
was saying.
he was saying or whatever.
He probably was.
Yeah. Skirt. These bitches up, bro. This is shit. But anyway, I broke it down to her. I said, well, I'm not sure, how many different people you done been around or whatever, or, but you gotta know, like, in a group of guys, more times than not, and I learned this in elementary school, the fat boy is always going to be the one to feel like he got to prove himself. You feel what I'm saying? He's always the one that has to do the most. He has to be funnier. He has to get the approval of the other guys before he does anything. It's not it's not overt, but it's like a mental thing that a lot of times they don't feel good about themselves because people always talking about their weight and things like that, blah, blah, blah. But being insecure and then like trying to like diss girls and like be funny when you really don't even need to be doing all of that. That's a part of a lot of people's identity. And that's what I was trying to explain to her. I said, listen, he was just out there doing his job. He was trying to make his buddies laugh. You feel what I'm saying? I said, that don't make it right. I said, but you just got to chalk it up. That's just the fat nigga syndrome. Like he just playing his role. He feel like he can't get he can't get nowhere by being nice or by being
Right.
vulnerable or by being, whatever the case. That's just you gotta chalk that shit up to the game. Not saying here and saying now it's another thing if he called you out your name or some shit or whatever. I said, but crack, I said that's a weird accusation or a weird thing to try to make fun of. Nobody's doing crack in you feel me? Nobody's doing crack in 2016 or 2017 unless you live in Brooklyn or Glen Burnie. That was a joke. That was a little joke, but you get what I'm trying to say. Or maybe I'm not sure if maybe you like experienced that. You probably you know some fat niggas who be doing the most. You feel me? Biggie's one of those. He's one of those. You feel me? But he got money and he got a little bit of he has talent. So it's like I'm gonna let that overshadow. But check this out. Check it out. If you actually listen to his lyrics, he talks about pain. He talks about inadvertently, he's not saying this explicitly, but not feeling good about himself and feeling like death is approaching him and not wanting to be here anymore. He was on some depressed shit, you feel me? But still, the back of the club sipping Moet is where you find me. I'm like, that shit sounds smooth in the mind. I'm trying to be in the back of the club, you feel me? But it's like, niggas not listening to the rest of the story.
No, they're not really.
You feel me? So I think everything into consideration. Um, just another product of his environment. He didn't grow up in the best environment. He had to make decisions. This not no victim shit. I'm not victimizing him, and I'm not like taking up for like the disgusting shit that he was saying. But a lot of specifically black men go through this same just cycle of just not having the support. I got to make things happen. I'm finding security and identity in the streets, but everybody has a purpose and has a gift. Biggie was starting to work his gift, but a lot of that shit from back in the day, just and when and I don't know who shot him or who killed him or what the whole story was behind, but I guarantee you that it was done by somebody who got a similar story to him. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because
Right.
nobody else will try to take your life, and that to me that's the strangest shit. Like that's the strangest thing about hood mentality is we all in this project together, we're all in this ghetto together, having the same experience. And you're gonna take my life because I live around the corner, or you want to take my life because I want to sit out on this stoop and try to make funny for my family, just like you're trying to do. That's weird. You think that my life is worth this corner? You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
It's extreme. It's extreme, and like trauma, like is the root of all of. You know what I mean? Like I'm about to start preaching, but you get what I'm trying to say. But I'm saying he probably lived a very traumatic life to where people talk like that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
People talk like that. So it was the norm for him to do it. And people received it because they talk like that all the time. You
Mm-hmm.
feel what I'm saying? They've heard their cousins or brothers say inappropriate shit like that and just let it slide. So it's not like, you
It's just like,
know what I
it's
mean?
just like, he said, oh God,
Yeah.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
This would be this album.
I am reviewing the album.
We got it.
We're talking about the things that he was talking
Like, I
about.
mean, like, let's grade it. Like,
Oh, graded.
yeah, we got
Okay.
graded.
Because this is important. You
I
feel
get
me?
it's important. Like, I'm
Like,
just saying, like, we got graded, dude.
see, you know, never mind. Okay. Yeah. So what we normally do is how we grade on the album, whether it's like hip hop or R&B. For hip hop, we use three metrics. We use lyrics, we use production, and we use longevity to give it like a grade for real, for real.
Yep. So, usually I'm first, but in the words of Queen Latifah, ladies first, ladies first.
Um, lyrics. When you say now I forget when we said lyrics, are we just talking about like
Lyrical content.
like how he put it together, or like what he was actually talking about?
Like,
Both.
I think how both.
Probably like a
Probably
combo.
both.
Well, how he put it together was definitely masterful. I'll never hate on a nigga or anybody for real, for what they do well because, like I said, we all have gifts. We all have been given something to contribute to the larger society as a whole, you know? So I'll never hate on nobody for that. You feel me? Some of y'all niggas be thinking that y'all shit is music and it's not for real. I mean, that's not what you've been given to give in society, but I digress. But um but what he was talking about, I just can't get down with, especially just me being a woman. You feel what I'm saying? And it's a different time period to be a woman now, for real, because you have more options. You can do for yourself. You can work for yourself. Even a woman was doing this shit in the '90s or whatever, but but women from the hood are starting to step into different, like a different social class as well. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Women who grew up in the same type of environments that like Biggie grew up in, are stepping into an entirely different social class. Some are doing it by selling pussy. Some are doing it by going to school and working their ass off. Some are doing it by just connecting themselves to a man and having a kid and then divorce. It's a lot of different pathways, and I'm not judging anyone's pathway. But what I'm saying is, it's just an interesting time to be a woman, and you can't, and you don't necessarily have to be connected to a man to do it. That's what I'm saying. So, the way that he put the story together, the way that he delivered his lyrics, man, masterful. But the shit that he's talking about and just basically being a fat guy jerk, I'm definitely not with that shit. So this is just a personal shit. I'm trying to think. Do I want to weigh more of like how he put it together or what he was saying? Do I want to give him like a 50-50? Um. Okay, so how he put it together, he got a 450 on that. What the fuck he was talking about? It's relatable though, because it's not just me. It's not just like my experience that he's like taking into consideration. It's a it's a it's a lot of other people that like consider. He's also representing a hood, representing or whatever. Um, I give him a 80 a 80 a 80 for lyrics. Production I wasn't too keen about. The only production that I really liked was like the mainstream songs, and then he had 14 other songs. So production I would give like a 70. And then longevity, I would definitely say the longevity speaks for itself because this is one of the most revered albums. I wouldn't listen to it again. I would just kind of pick and choose Big Papa shit. He was on some smooth Mac Daddy shit on that. Um, you know, picking. So I would pack. So longevity. This is just for me. Am I doing it for me or if I'm doing it for the whole? For me, I wouldn't listen to the album again. So I would probably say like another like 70 or something.
All right. 80, 80, 70, 70. That's 20, which means it's 73 for Prism.
73. Yeah. You.
So, all right. I think what I stand lyrically. I love how he put his words together, and I think that Biggie is definitely a master at how he does it. Not everything I was cool with what he was saying, but it just was like yeah, I understand. Like sometimes people, they live that life, and yeah, sometimes people they live that life. Um, and also, what are you doing?
If you don't give your.
All right, you know what? Listen, but I'll give Biggie an 85 for lyrics because I do think like I yeah, I mean it was just like a nice little medium, you know. Here we go with this shit. All right,
My mouth is dry. Thank
okay,
you.
okay.
I've been talking up a fucking storm because you didn't listen to the album.
I did listen to the
Go
album.
ahead.
I did. Excuse me.
Okay.
The longevity, I will give it. It definitely speaks for itself. I would give it. I would
Would
give
you
it.
Would you listen to it again?
I would definitely listen to it again.
Okay.
Now I'd skip a couple songs, but I'd definitely listen to it again. So that being said, I give it a tag. And also we got production. 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 It had its production had its highlights. Biggie definitely made a lot of songs a whole lot better just by his little ways. So I'll definitely give production. I think I'll give production another 85. So it's 250 divided by 3. It's 83.3 for me. That's 83. With that being said, that completes our review for Biggie's Ready to Die. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, leave your love, leave your hate, give us recommendations, and tune in to the next episode of What You Know About That. Because what you know about that.
I'm ready.